Recording started. We are going Facebook Live now. It's taking some time. Yeah, so we are live now. Hello, bonjour, marhaba, salam alaikum, hola, namaste, namaskar, and sastriyakal. We welcome you all on day 2 of Women's International Panel to celebrate the women achievers in the National Capital Region and all over, including India today. With community leaders, builders who are women. World Multicultural Festival Incorporation is collaborating for the first time with Ottawa Distinguished Women to celebrate women internationally in 2023. We will have few incredible and talented panelists who would be speaking on a variety of topics on breaking the barriers and digital innovation and technology, gender equality for today. The World Multicultural Festival and Ottawa Distinguished Women acknowledges that they are hosting this panel discussion on the unceded, unsurrendered territory of the Anishinaabe Algonquin Nation, whose presence here reached back to time immemorial. I would like to hand over the stage to our co-chair, Maria Ricci, for now and continue the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gypsy. Hello, I'm Maria Ricci, and I'm the chair of Family Marcable Ottawa Distinguished Women. And on behalf of our team, we're very pleased to be here today for our second panel discussions relating to breaking barriers and digital innovation and technology for gender equality. Firstly, thank you to the World Multicultural Festival for inviting us to partner in this important initiative, and its director, Gypsy Gosh, who is one of the most energetic, imaginative, and hardworking multicultural ambassadors in Ottawa. A special thank you to our panel discussions team, Carmen Foglietta, who has worked tirelessly to put this project together, and to Trina Constantini for her contributions. At Family Marcable, Ottawa Distinguished Women, our mission is to recognize outstanding women and to document their stories so that they may inspire others to forge their own paths in discovering solutions to the unique needs of our citizens now and in the future. Each of their contributions is an important part of Ottawa's history, and their legacies are reflected on our site, frottawadw.ca. A special note of thanks to all our standing panelists who will share their experiences and expertise, and to our committed moderators. And thank you to all those who are watching this Facebook Live and YouTube. We hope that you too are encouraged and inspired to forge your own path and to continue breaking barriers to the betterment of all. And now, without further ado, let's begin our first panel discussion with today's moderator, Trina Constantini-Powell.
Good morning and good evening to everybody. I think this is wonderful that we're able to be so international this morning, to have other guests from India and Gypsy as well, who has set this up. But I think we're honored to have so many wonderful women together this morning. And I'm going to be a little bit open. The two women that we're going to speak with this morning, I know them very well from as colleagues, as community members. So I would like to welcome, first off, Isabel Metcalf, as well as Lee Farnsworth. And Isabel is, I'm just going to give you a little short bio on both of these amazing women. And Isabel is a lifelong community advocate and champion for the advancement of women's equality and democratic participation. Isabel has served on numerous boards and community organizations. As founder of the famous 5 Ottawa, her tireless leadership has led to the installation of the Women Are Persons Monument on Parliament Hill, That monument now sits on Wellington Street in front of the revamped Senate of Canada offices. Her work as well with the famous five also included those very famous women appearing on our $50 banknote. She has initiated and led numerous mentorship and youth programs, one in particular, the Norton Rose Mentorship Program. And she's worked alongside many young women and young girls, and is the recipient of many awards, including the Mayor's City Builder Award and the Queen's Jubilee Medal. For a full bio on Isabel, you can go to our website, which I think Gypsy, maybe if you can post the website address on the
Yes.
chat,
Yes,
or we can see that.
I'm going to do that.
Lee Farnsworth has been active in the Nepean Ottawa community for many years, a strong advocate for women and inclusion. She has long been involved in groundbreaking community development initiatives and has also been engaged in political activities at all three levels of government. Lee has been a member of many boards and has participated in many City of Ottawa committees related to health, social services, and nonprofit housing. Lee has a strong commitment to social equality, diversity, and the importance of community development, both at a personal and professional level. Her leadership has been widely recognized by both the city and the province. So ladies, the first question today, and I know I like the fact that both of you have been so heavily invested in politics. So I'd like you to take the question, which is, what do you think are the most significant barriers to female empowerment, equity, and equality, and relate it to your personal circumstances? Isabel, I'm going to start with you.
Well, hi, good morning, and I'm so grateful for this opportunity. Can you hear me okay? Yeah, everybody can always hear me. That's never a problem. I'd just like to thank you and thank so many of you and so many old friends. Lee and I ran together. We've been colleagues and warriors for a long, long time. I think one of the greatest challenges, and only as we get older, but we need this gift earlier in life, is managing the man. If you can manage men, I think you can probably manage the world. They are, we have to do that in order to be successful in our family, our business, our community life, but it's always a bit of a challenge. And sometimes we don't learn it as quickly and efficiently and as effectively as we might. So that would be the very first thing. And the other thing I think, and I'd be curious to get Lee's opinion, both of us have spent a lifetime in politics. And I believe that so many people put so much focus on power, when really, if you focused on the people, you would have a more successful and easier journey. These are things that we've all learned through long experience. So if you focus on the people and always helping the people and keeping the people first and foremost in your mind and what it is they need, what you can do for them, as opposed to you speaking about yourself. What can I do to help that young person get ahead, the business person to be successful, the elderly to have a good quality of life? I think those are the things that you need to focus on if you're going to be successful in politics. Lee?
And yeah, Lee, go ahead. I just like to say though, just before Lee begins, that I mean, that's very, I think, very, very important in terms of being able to offer what gifts and lessons we learn along the way. And I think it's to be able to share those with those coming up, because I think that is so very important.
Yeah.
Lee.
Yeah, thanks, Trina. And thank you for inviting me to be a part of this discussion. I have to say, I'm pretty humbled, surrounded by all these people who are very talented and educated and professional. And yesterday's panel was superb. I really enjoyed it and was, again, very humbled. Isabel and I do share a lot of similarities, but I have to say that my background is quite different from Isabel's, in a sense that, number one, it's supposed to be about international. Well, in fact, I wasn't born in Canada. I was born in Italy. I came as a young child to Canada. And my parents were very semi-literate, I would say, when we arrived, never had a lot of money. I did not get into politics until, well, Isabel talks about a lifelong. Well, I don't think I really got into politics till I was about 40. You know what? There was a lot of other things in my life before that. So when we talk about barriers, I'm certainly aware it's very individual. Everyone has a different experience, life experience, and what they suffer. But so there's, the usual barriers of sexism, lack of financial support, family responsibilities. But I think the biases are there. The biases, and I think Isabel kind of addressed that with this, engaging men and managing men even.
Managing men.
But you know what I found, and so it took me time, because as I said, I didn't really get involved in politics and then in more significant social organizations until I was 40. Confidence, lack of confidence, lack of role models.
Right.
I have to tell you, I was a top student in my high school, math, science, everything. Did I go into math and science? No, but I didn't know any women doctors. I didn't know any women lawyers in those days. Now today, it's changed a lot, but there weren't the role models. There weren't the mentors. So I didn't have, little Italian girl in an Italian town. I did not have the confidence to go into something like, say, engineering, which I might have been good at, actually. But that being said, I did have the, we'll talk about this later, the opportunities and the experience, and I grew into it. And I think that's what we have to be encouraging women to do, is not put a lot of pressure on yourself initially, but certainly give yourself the opportunity to grow and look for supports and for the networks.
And I think when you mentioned confidence, that was a message that resonated yesterday as well. Confidence is, can we do it? Should we do it? Can we do it? Will we succeed at doing it? And I think right now we can see that women have done it, but I think there's still a little bit of a road to climb and a hill to mount there in terms of that. Now, with respect to your lifetime in politics, and we look at the it being primarily a male-dominated field right now. We look at the makeup of the Canadian Parliament, and we're about 30.5% of women. So 101 out of 333 or 338 seats. City Council, we've got 9 out of 24 women, which that's not really a great percentage. The Ontario legislature seems to have a little bit more women. So politics has always been that male-dominated field, and that's where you're going to perhaps see some of the the barriers and the sexism and I think it's hard for women still to be able to enter into politics. So with it being a male-dominated field, let's touch upon that. Isabel.
Well, I had my first job as a young woman, and I was a young mother at 22. So that very much dominated my life. I was married very early, babies came very quickly. And my first job was in the Prime Minister's office. I worked for Mr. Trudeau many, many, many years ago. And that was how I began, a secretary. And it was a wonderful experience and certainly determined much of my approach to life in regards to professional conduct. But I always just loved politics. I loved it, and I still love it to this day. So I had to work my way up from being a young woman that was the secretary with the baby through all of the hierarchies of the volunteer world, from being a riding president to always an organizer girl. And I think one of the greatest disappointments I had of my life was that I wasn't encouraged to be a candidate early. They all were after my husband. Oh, yes, we want him to run, but nobody asked me. So I am now, that's one of the reasons why I invest so much time in young women. You think of being a candidate. You don't want to be the organizer girl. You want to be the speaker girl. You want to be at the front of the room. And I wish that I had begun that path earlier at the municipal level, and I think would have had more success. So now I take my experiences, and I'm spending a lot of time with Indigenous women to encourage Indigenous women to seek public office. They have even more barriers than we do because that kind of civil engagement is not necessarily a part of their culture. So that's kind of where I'm at now to get Indigenous women, and there are plenty of them, highly skilled, very capable, a wonderful new generation of leaders to consider putting their name on a ballot. And I help them in whatever way I can. Number one, encouraging them. And number two, saying, I'll be there and picking ridings with lots of horses. You need horses to get ahead in this life, and to encourage them to step forward. Early.
Early, yes.
Yeah.
And
You
Lee,
know, Isabel and I do share a love for politics. I must say, way back when I was young, I was the elder Trudeau. We had this big picture in the window, and my parents said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, this is obviously, this is the prime minister." A little bit different. Ironically, I have to tell you that I started off, I was a high school teacher, doing counseling. And I can remember talking to the young girls saying, why do you want to be a dental assistant? Why do you want to be a dental hygienist? You have marks, you could be the dentist. It was really difficult, uphill battle then, I think maybe things have improved a bit, but ironically, I've had several different careers along the way. I was a college professor after high school teaching, and I coordinated a program for women in technology and trades. Very non-traditional, I must say. And that was a real eye-opener for me because my job was to empower those young women. I knew very little about trades and technology, but I knew a lot about confidence building. And it was really a good challenge. Then I went on to teaching public administration and diversity to police students and police foundations, mostly men, but there were a few young women in there, also non-traditional for women. And again, empowerment. So when I decided to run, I have to tell you a little anecdote here. When I decided to run for politics, it was really serendipitous. I was attending a meeting of our city council, and they were all men. And I rolled my eyes. I was standing at the back, and I said, why are they all men? Like, where are the women? And someone next to me said, why don't you run? And I said, well, I've got 2 small kids, and I'm pretty busy. Well, she said, well, why don't you start off with, in those days, we elected hydro commissioners. So I said, okay, yeah, maybe I'll think about that. I know nothing about hydro or electricity, I have to tell you, except that you turn the switch on and the light goes on. I really knew nothing about electricity. But I put my name forward, and when I went to register, I put down, now my real name is Lena, but I go by Lee. So I put Lee Farnworth, and then I noticed that the mayor had put Benjamin, whatever his second name was. And I thought, oh no, I'm going to put Lee Ann, because Lee could be a male name. And why shouldn't I appeal to women to support me? So I put Lee Ann Anna Farnworth. And I had people say to me after, I voted for you because we needed women. They were all men hydro commissioners. And they said, we need a woman on there. And that was my first step. And then, you know what I found out? Those men were not any smarter than I was.
Right.
We got invited to city council meetings, found out they weren't any smarter either. So when I decided after a term on hydro, I said, I'm going to run for city council because I know I can do it. So I was building up my confidence, quite frankly. And I think the same thing, although same thing with Isabel, hard, like I was interested in running, but could I do it? And I finally was encouraged to run, but there were some barriers there too, because the men often were kind of in charge, and you had to figure out how to get around them, how to get them on side. And so it's an interesting process. And I agree with you, Isabel, if you can get young people involved earlier, yes.
Right.
well, and I think today, I mean, you see so many women now going into the, the medical field and the STEM fields and that. So it is so very different, because when you think back to women I think back to my mother, who would have graduated in the 40s. a very smart woman who would have been an ideal candidate for university. But at that time, women didn't go to university. They were, they went to maybe a commercial school to become secretaries and maybe nurses and teachers, and that was about it.
Mhm,
And then once they had their babies, they stayed at home. So
mhm.
it's such a completely different shift right now, but there is still work to do. But you do see these avenues and these disciplines in universities opening up more and more so for young, smart women.
Mhm.
But in terms of women's advancement, then and now, it's something that has to be. I'm sure you've noticed a great deal of change. And Isabel, when you're mentoring the young women, you must see that, and you must. You must be very proud that so many of these women now are moving forth into those fields and trying to break down those barriers.
Well, yes, and I also notice, I'm a big fan of Jody Thomas. Jody Thomas is a woman that, with our famous five, we honored women in the armed forces. We did a big event for the general, the commissioner, the something else. And Jody at that time was the commissioner of the Coast Guard, a very big male-dominated industry.
Mm.
She's now probably one of the most trusted and well-regarded security advisors, and is the security advisor to the Prime Minister. We see her. She was the one that had that great quote about advising cabinet during the middle of the occupation and talking about piping up. If you were sitting at the table and you had information to share, she used that term, piping up, which I just loved. Didn't matter if you were on the speaker's thing, if you knew that you had the answer to the question, you should say it. So she's a woman that I really, really admire. I'm noticing in the public service that more and more and more senior positions are very much dominated by women because they can manage the money. They can manage those huge departments. They can manage people. Here, following the pandemic, all the old barriers that are colonial, patriarchal are being torn down, and people are sitting in a much different environment now in the public service and in different places. So I view those as very interesting ways. And then recently in our city council, a whole lot of young women stepped up and a lot of them got elected. That's transforming the dialogue. So I think it's happening.
No, when you refer to the city council, and those are a lot of young, very, very
Oh,
smart women that have joined, since last October that were elected. And so it is very, very good to see. And I like that quote about piping up, because I think, you go back 40 years and you remember the words to Sheila Copps, pipe down.
yeah.
Sit down, pipe down. Piping up is a much better way to go. Lee, your take
Yeah.
on that?
I really admire the things that Isabel's doing with the different national organizations, women organizations, because the mentoring and the role modeling is so important to young women, and getting them involved in activities and helping them they've got to get the experience. They can't just jump right in, because I think that it's really difficult if you fail at the beginning. I think it's really good to take the steps, which is why I encourage women to get involved in networks, whatever. There are all kinds of women's groups, and not only women, but community groups, where you can get the experience and you build up your confidence. So I think when you're running for politics, if you have that confidence and you have that network of people who know you and support you and really realize the potential that you have, that makes such a significant difference to when you finally get there and you run for political office, or take any leadership role, not just in political office, but I've been on many boards, and it's amazing how quickly you can become president of a board if you have the confidence and you just show the leadership qualities. And there are a lot of women out there who have them. They just often are directors and they're not the president. They say, well, you could be president. You could be the leader.
So how?
Go ahead. I think women's leadership styles are different. I see these very senior public servants, and I watch how they chair a meeting, how they conduct themselves in meetings, And I find their leadership, the old model, it's not patriarchal, it's circular. And that's a really transformative way of doing business. So even placement at an important table, like nowadays, nobody sits at the head of the table anymore. They sit sideways. It's a very different leadership model, and more people are embracing it because it works.
Mhm.
Well, that's a very interesting point. So when you were younger, in terms of how did you navigate the power structures early in your career, going in, with very little experience versus later on in your career where you had those lessons ingrained in you and experiences and that. So how did you, how did you navigate that? Lee.
Well, I had difficulty with it initially, quite frankly, because I grew up in a system, in a social network where the guys were the leaders, and I really had to learn to build up my confidence. And luckily, I learned it quite quickly. And I was married when I was 23. I have a very supportive husband. I would call him a feminist. And he always encouraged me and supported me and stood behind me when the children were small. And I said, I'm going out to this women's group tonight. I'm going to be working on the phones we were doing the Women in the Constitution. And I said, you're taking care of the kids. And he said, okay. So that was really important to me, to find supportive men in my life. And then as your confidence grew and as you had that support network, I think it just made such a big difference. And it's like a snowball. You get bigger, better and better at it, more in control. And as I said before, as you experience these different situations, you realize that you are good. You do have the skills. You do have the knowledge. The men are not better than you. And, it just follows from there.
I was the same. I was like Lee. I had children, I had babies, I had all those things. So it was difficult to get out. I was lucky. I had a husband that was a very early riser. So he was always up and he was happy to be home in the evenings. And he worked hard all day and he was happy. So I was able to go do that stuff. It's very tough. It's very tough to navigate those areas because Lee is correct in confidence. I was lucky. I enjoyed fantastic health and was a hard worker. So I was always reliable. They knew I'd show up. They knew I would get the job done. Very good at connecting the dots. So that was a skill that I had that started to move me up the food chain. But it was still not until I was 50 that even anybody considered me seeking public office or encouraging me in any way. So it's tough. There's no doubt about it. And the more I think about Lee and what she said about confidence, it was always the same. I was always invited to the table, but nobody was too interested in what I had to say. So they liked to have me there because they knew I'd get the task done. And so those kinds of things start to wear on you after a while. They were frankly more interested in what I had on than what came out of my mouth. And that kind of gets to you after a while where you think, well, gee, what's this all about anyway? Those are the kinds of subtle systemic barriers that start. There was one guy that will be nameless. I'm being very indiscreet. When I was a young woman, a big organizer, I had responsibility for a large area with about 22 candidates that were hoping to seek public office. We were at the meetings, and just before I was going to give my little presentation, the chair said, "Oh my God, you just look so great." Well, that kind of deflated me. I wasn't that interested. I wanted my people, my candidates, the men and women I was trying to get elected. I wanted them to have the same heft at the table as my colleagues. I was the only female organizer. And so those little things start to wear down your confidence over time. Those are subtle things, but they just weren't the greatest start for me representing. I got them all elected. We got them all elected. We were very successful. But those little subtle comments make you feel a little second rate.
I
Yeah.
agree.
And
So, oh, okay, go ahead, Lee. Sorry.
no, I was gonna say, and it's not just the comments.
Oh,
Like I ran for provincial nomination once and I did not win it. But I ran partly because the leader of the party said, we're looking for more women. We want women, you know. So here I put myself forward, and it turned out that they had chosen, they really wanted a man to run to win this nomination. And I said, but that's not what you've said. But
right.
and you know, and it really does. It's like a little knife in your back. And after that, I was quite upset and quite actually, my confidence was somewhat deflated, but I bounced back, and it was because I had surrounded myself with positive people and friends. And you know, one of the things I always tell people, avoid negative people. If
Yeah.
there are negative people, just avoid them, because it's not good for your confidence, and it's certainly not good for your career or your, you know, whatever that you're pursuing.
Very
So-
true. In terms of mentors and allies, did you have men as good allies and men as good mentors? Lee?
I'm trying to think of some. Not really. For many of us at the time when I went into politics, there were so few. Joyce Fairburn, the great Carolyn Bennett. There weren't a lot. I had lots of men that loved working with me because I worked so hard and got things done. But when it came to being, as I said, at the front of the room speaking and not at the back of the room organizing, there weren't too many that did that.
Well, that's being
Sorry.
honest. That's being out very honest.
Yeah, I know what I feel the same way, Isabel. It was always a struggle. I mean,
Yeah.
there was talk about support, but
Right.
I don't know, even when I was teaching high school, I had to fight against the men to, you know, which classroom was I going to get? I wanted the best one and they wanted the best one. Guess who got it? But I did learn to fight. And even when I was in different elected offices, I had to learn to speak up. I can remember that mayor, when I first got elected, he said, Lee, you've got to learn to be part of the team. And I said, no, that's the old boys team you're talking about. No, I want to change things. I got elected to change. And we did. There were actually 2 women elected that time, and we did make change. And luckily I think it was important, there was another woman there, because the 2 of us together were a little more confident than, I think if you're the only woman, it's much, much more difficult. But I wouldn't say that I had some really good women role models. I was fortunate. I had 2 members of parliament who were both women, Beryl Gaffney and Nepean,
Right.
and then
Marlene
Catterall, and an MPP who was a woman. So I certainly saw that women could succeed. And I think that really put a lot of gas in my tank, quite frankly. It encouraged me to say, maybe I could do that after they're finished. Yeah.
Okay, the last question, we've got only a few minutes left. So go back to being a 20-year-old. So what advice from your many years of experience, what advice would you give to Lee and Isabel, the 20-year-old? Isabel.
Oh, well, managing the man, but joy. Look for joy in something that you do. I found joy in politics because for me, it was always about the people. I love door to door. I just can never get enough of it. There is nothing more fun than running up to a door, knocking on it. Hello, my name is so-and-so, and I'm here for such and such. And learning what's behind those doors, what's on their mind. If you're lucky, they'll look right at you and tell you exactly what you think. They think. Those are joyful moments. And it's, for me, the very essence of politics. If you don't just love that exchange, that contribution, they stick their hand out, they say, I'll vote for you. That means you serve them. Then you might want to choose a different career path. But that's always the advice I give to young people that want to be in politics. You have to love that. And every time Lee would find the same when we've had our defeats and our difficulties and ups and downs, I would always get back out onto the street as quickly as I could and back out speaking with the people, and the people would give me the strength to believe that the work that I was doing was important.
And Isabel is a fantastic.
Oh, I love it.
She's renowned for it. You know what I would say, if I were back there telling a 20-year-old, I'd say, take your time, get some experiences. Don't rush yourself. Something I didn't mention is I spent 2 years as a volunteer in the South Pacific with CUSO, just after when I started teaching, actually. And it changed my life, honestly. I think it probably was really the charger that got me more involved in the community and politics, because I realized, number one, how lucky we are in Canada. Honestly, come back and you just say, we have so much here and we have so much to share with the world. And just the experiences, I think if we say to young 20-year-olds, get more experience, try different things, don't rush to get married and have children and, and even choose a career. We have so much now. I think the people in technology will probably talk about this. The world is changing so fast and you have the opportunities to do different things. So give yourself the space and do it. Have fun, enjoy yourself, and find the joy, as Isabel said.
Thank you, ladies. It's both been very, very interesting and insightful. And I think that, young women that have you as mentors will learn a lot and will become very, very valuable people in the world.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, so we're turning it over, I guess, to Gypsy, I believe. We're having a musical interlude, Gypsy.
So thank you so much. I want to start with the first IT panel, and then do some music, because Dr. Pandey is joining from Delhi and it's getting late for her. I am habituated anyway. So I think we should start the IT panel, finish one panel, and then we can enjoy some music. So
Okay.
I'm thinking, yeah, what do you say? Okay.
That sounds good, Gypsy. Sure.
Okay. So the first panelist is traveling to India, is in the plane. So she has sent a video. I'm going to introduce Dr. Malini Ghosh, and then I'm going to play the video. Okay. So the first panelist of DigitAll Innovation and Technology for Gender Equality today is Dr. Malini Ghosh, PhD. Malini is a PhD in chemical engineering with a focus on environmental remediation. In her current role as an environmental specialist, she helps in maintaining compliance, mitigate and manage environmental, health and safety risks for federal government facilities across Ottawa. During her research, her primary focus area was studying economically sustainable technologies to enhance the availability of potable water in developing countries. In today's panel, she will be focusing on areas where we as technology personnel can contribute enormously to improve the life of numerous men, women, and children across the globe by increasing their access to clean drinking water. So the topic of discussion today of Dr. Malini Ghosh is technologies for increasing accessibility of clean drinking water in developing countries. Technologies for increasing accessibility. So I will be playing the video now.
Thank you so much for the introduction. Hello, everyone. I am Malini. I'm a chemical engineer and working in this chemical and environmental domain for more than a decade now. Currently, I'm working as an environmental specialist, managing compliance, mitigation, environmental health and safety areas for federal government facilities across the Ottawa region. Today, I would really like to focus on one of my research areas, which is sustainable technologies.
I'm taking some time for
enhance the
technology. Sorry
availability
for
of
that.
clean drinking water to the developing countries. Let us take a quick peek into the history and see how it all started. The invention of well was a revolutionary breakthrough that has been frequently overlooked. This cradle of fresh water was the key to the growth and development of inland. Thank you so much for the introduction. Hello, everyone. I am Malini. I'm a
It's just technology. I'm trying to share my screen. Yeah, I got it. Sorry for that. So can you see now?
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm going to play.
Thank you so much for the introduction. Hello, everyone. I am Malini. I'm a chemical engineer and working in this chemical and environmental domain for more than a decade now. Currently, I'm working as an environmental specialist, managing compliance, mitigation, environmental health and safety areas for federal government facilities across the Ottawa region. Today, I would really like to focus on one of my research areas, which is sustainable technologies to enhance the availability of clean drinking water to the developing countries. Let us take a quick peek into the history and see how it all started. The invention of well was a revolutionary breakthrough that has been frequently overlooked. This cradle of fresh water was the key to the growth and development of inland communities dating back to 10,000 years. 3,000 years before even the wheel was invented. The well is therefore the first innovation which sparked the advancement of a long list of water technologies. Since human beings have proved themselves to be inefficient water users, thus employing intense pressure on the planet's limited freshwater resources, thereby compelling governments and businesses to revisit the technologies, innovations, and create sophisticated pipeline networks and treatment plants to provide with this elixir of life. To give a brief background, 1/5 of world's population is deprived of any safe water resources. 1.2 billion of world's population do not have access to safe drinking water. And more than 4,000 children every single day die due to the exposure of unsafe potable water. As you can see, these numbers are reflecting to one single fact, that we are in dire need to develop sustainable technologies to improve the availability of fresh drinking water across the globe. Now, the question is, what is stopping us from doing that? From helping these underprivileged men, women, and children? There is no easy solution or answer to that. There are numerous geographical and socioeconomic factors that are in play here. Few of the key factors are the natural scarcity of water resources, unhygienic and improper sanitation systems, poor access to water resource management, lack of availability of small-scale technologies. These are only few examples to name. However, the most critical one of any other factors is the poverty level in many developing nations. Poverty is only debilitating, but also a major reason behind the lack of access to knowledge, technologies, information, and resources. And that is which makes the water scarcity issue more grave in developing countries. One of the most effective ways to obtain safe drinking water is to protect its source from contamination, from dumping household garbages, medical and industrial wastes, fertilizers, etc. And that can only be achieved by proper education and awareness. Wastewater reuse has also been found to be significantly efficient in fighting water availability in history. However, in most of these developing countries, the rate of population growth continues to outpace the rates of increase in level and coverage of water services. Then, what is the solution? The solution is technological advancement. For last 2 decades, researchers and scientists across the world are concentrating their effort for developing technologies. Those are economically viable and environmentally sustainable. Organizations like UNICEF or WHO are continually promoting the development of low-cost technologies targeted to rural areas, which includes like hand-pumped equipment boreholes or hand-dug wells, rainwater harvesting systems, simple pipe-borne gravity-fed systems are few of the examples. These organizations are constantly working for gathering global funds for implementing these technologies and awareness programs to the developing sector of world population. As per a previous report, the total global annual investment sector for the developing countries was estimated to be $10 billion in 1990s. On an average, 65% was raised from in-country resources and rest from bilateral and multilateral external fundings. Even with that, there is a strong regional variation in the fraction of funding from in-country resources. For a context, where Middle East managed to get 90% of in-country funding, Africa only managed to get 25% of that. Hence, clearly we are not even close to a permanent solution. We need more technical minds for innovating cheaper and sustainable water technologies. We need more funds towards these researches and their implementations. That is the only way we can make this world a better place to live in for everyone. Thank you so much.
Our second panelist for digital innovation and technology for gender equality is Dr. Surabhi Pandey from New Delhi, India. Dr. Surabhi Pandey is an assistant professor at the Indian Institute of Public Administration, New Delhi, the capital of India. She is an honoree. She has received many honors, which I will share with everybody because it's a very big bio, but to tell in a gist, she is GOC in C Western Command Commendation Card holder. She is a PhD in computer science, MPhil in computer science, MCM, MCA, PDDM, certified data analytics tools, IBM and blockchain from IIT Madras. IIT is a premium institute in the world. Her research area is cloud computing security, cybersecurity, and data analytics. She's a member of 3E, Innovative Foundation and BIS. She has 18 years of professional and academic experience. Her specialized areas are cloud computing, cybersecurity, data analytics tools, SaaS, ERP, MISE governance, digital marketing, knowledge management, leadership, communication, and change management. She is principal member of Educational and Skill Development Services Sectional Committee, SSD 04 of the Bureau of Indian Standards, BIS. decorated with prestigious Indian Army GOC in C Western Command Commendation Card on 15th August 2015 for distinguished service and commitment for Army Institute. I will be sharing more bio, Dr. Pandey, because you are a great person and we want to hear from you now.
Thank you so much. Thank you for giving me this opportunity and for a brief intro about me. I am like you only. And previous to the technology discussion, I think a very great intervention and discussion which is going on. And I just highlight the three parts. And what is that? We're talking about women support women. Another, we're talking about the confidence and a better representation in various fields, whether it is an armed force, whether it is a lawyer, whether it is a medical field, whether it is any bureaucracy, a better representation. Well, any nation, when we're talking about nation building, it is all comes with that education. And I think today in this forum, you will agree that the women's have a better representation in the education field. And that's what is the main point of a nation building. Another, there is a very old saying when we're talking about empowerment, and today is the topic, and the UN mission topic of 2023 is DigitAll and technology innovation. That digital equality with technology innovation, we're talking about empowering women also in digital literacy. Technology development are going to give a lot of opportunities to women also in the socio-economic development. When we're talking about socioeconomic development, technology intervention, I think internet is one way where we are going to access the information. And today in this platform, we all the women are connected with this internet only. And that's what internet will give another avenue and self-assertion to all the women's, opening to the new opportunity, whether it is a dialogue which is happening or any kind of an opportunity in the socioeconomic development also. The topic which has given to me to talk about cybersecurity and other things also in a very short span of time. But before I start anything, I must say, and it is an old proverb, we keep saying that when you educate a man, you're educating an individual personality. But when you are educating a woman, you are educating a nation, you're building a nation. So we building a nation and our digital literacy is equally important. I think all across the world is talking about digitization, and in India also. We have a long campaign and we're working on this digital infrastructure, and foremost motive of this Digital India campaign is digital empowerment of the citizen. And we as a women contributing to this digital empowerment also. Somebody has talked about STEM, somebody has talked about entrepreneur. I also illustrate here a very small incident of my life. I'm coming from a very modest family. When my father is struggling, my mother supported my father in upbringing of our own education, the kids. So when she is helping, she helped as an entrepreneur. And yes, when we're talking about digital literacy, it is about that the women and representation in the science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and that's give another avenue to all the women in the different fields also. Entrepreneur, yes, a lady is confident because of the financial part. So the women economical empowerment is equally very important when we're talking about the confidence. And that confidence will come when women support women, when women have this economical empowerment also. And this economical empowerment will come when they are exposed to the technology. It gives another avenue, a lot of opportunity to connect, to get it into a different kind of a job profile, which was not earlier and long back, but now we have a different kind of opportunity available across the world. We can contribute in whichever way we want. Another, when we are exposed to the technology, there is a pros, there is a cons, right? So when we are exposed to the technology in this cyberspace comes with the vulnerability also. And the vulnerability has no discrimination between the gender, that I should attack a man or a woman. But definitely when we are exposed to the social media, the women becomes a soft corner. The women becomes a soft corner, and hence come a new and different kind of a world where we're talking about cybercrime prevention against women and child. that if the women and child becomes any kind of a vulnerability in the cyberspace, maybe because of the lack of awareness, maybe now they started getting into this internet world, they're not aware about the vulnerability, the awareness is lack, the technical knowledge is lacking, how we can support in this cause also, that is cyber crime prevention against women. I'm sure across the world, a lot of intervention the government is taking in a different way. In India also, we have a different intervention. We have Ministry of Home Affairs. They come up with a lot of support specific to the women support in this cyberspace. We have a scheme called Cybercrime Prevention Against Women and Child, where a lot of funding going from the central to the state and UTs in educating them in the cyber related crimes, and also setting up a lot of laboratories, enhancing LEAs so that we can curb the crime in this area also. So just imagine, this is the country where if digital literacy, digital divide, digital equality, there is a special intervention for the women's only to support them in this cause also, so that they will not be vulnerable in this area. Now let us understand what kind of a vulnerability in this cyberspace. When we are exposed to the social media, anybody can take out our photograph, our profile, and that can be misused against us. Maybe any kind of an extortion, maybe any kind of a distress which may cause. So a new terminology has entered into this cyberspace, or a cybercrime, maybe a cyberbullying to any lady or a woman or a child, and the child is not aware, the child or the woman is under a pressure or a distress, where to express, what to do. So we have to create an awareness that if you are exposed to this digital media, where we're talking about digital equality, you should be aware if there is a bullying, if somebody is is chasing you, is using those content or a language against you, you should take an action, and what are the provision. Likewise, we have stalking also, that somebody is stalking you, sending you an abusive chat messages, email, anything. You should not hide. Rather, a special intervention is required. They should overcome from this mechanism also. So what is the way? We should aware more of them. If there is a bullying, there is a stalking, stop this, take an action. We have a provision, we have a law, we have a section. We have a proper scheme to support you in this intervention also. It's just that you have to share with us. If you are posting a lot of content on this anonymous world to make you more confident, to share openly your opinion, then there's another vulnerability, that is cyber morphing also. If some social media morphing or a morphing is going on, somebody is taking out your photograph, and somebody is taking out your video, morph it, catfish fishing, you should stood up and you should understand that if this is happening, what is the way out? Why I'm not exploring the settings? Why I'm not taking a precaution so that there will be no morphing also? If it is happening, I should be aware that what steps should I take? I should not tolerate such kind of a distress in my life, because internet is giving me a venue to talk to the people in this anonymous world. The women, initially they hardly raise their voice, but now the women support women. We have a lot of platform where the women are coming and raising their voice also. If the voice is going on the blogs or the apps or any XYZ medium, they should aware of the vulnerability and the method of tackling also. The other is when we're talking about crime, hacking, URL, app, you can become a victim. The digital medium actually do not discriminate between a male or a female, but because of the photo, video, content, and images, we become a soft target. Why become a soft target? Why? Because that's support, women support, that support, we should know what is that support, what is that confidence in my life. And I think this is a wonderful platform. I have been hearing everyone, their story, which I could understand. The foremost thing is very important when we're talking about women empowerment, social and economic inclusion, is women support women. If I support another women in terms of social inclusion, in terms of financial empowerment, I think I am making a woman more confident. And I think this agenda of digital all says for everyone, gender equality, and women's are nevertheless. Rather, when I'm talking about a career in this area also, I started my journey as a software developer, having a lot of degree in computer science. So when I picked up this, I got a support from my mother and my professor to step in this computer science. And when I see a lot of men's working in this area, people say, better you move into the teaching profession. Software is a hard line. I said, no. And then I pursued my PhD also in this area. And I think in IIP as a public administration, we're talking about this data analytics, this software and everything across the world and serving the citizen of India in terms of serving the civil servant also. Another thing which you may see when we're talking about cyber, software, cloud, you may find that very less women representation in the cybersecurity area also. But from this platform, I must raise my voice to say that women should come in this domain because diversity is very important to coming up with a very innovation solution. And we can only provide an innovative solution when we have a better representation of women in the cybersecurity field also. So those who have joined with the Facebook Live, YouTube Live, or probably online also with us, if we think the cyber area or a cyberspace is vulnerable, then please contribute in this area also, strengthening this in a very comprehensive and a coordinated manner by stepping and joining in this opportunity also, that nobody will discriminate in this digital area or a cyberspace, you're a man or woman. You must contribute, better represent in this cyberspace also, protecting the nation, protecting the cyberspace by diversity. And that diversity comes when the women's are, coming up and joining a hand and giving a very innovative solution. And then only we can say it is a secure space, it is a secure world. So this is a short remark from my side, talking about digital law, technology, innovation. Towards the end, I must say, we need more intervention when we're talking about STEM. We should encourage women in the entrepreneurial activities and probably also in the decision-making boards also. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for having me this morning, talking about, especially from India, cyberspace, vulnerability, technology, innovation, and DigitAll. Thank you everyone. Any question?
Thank you so much. And Shruti, I think, the panelists here, because we did not make this public, we would have got more participants and more questions would have come up. But I feel already I have so many questions in my mind, but I'll meet you and I'll know more from you when we meet. But do the panelists have any questions? Because this is a very important topic nowadays. So you are welcome to ask questions. So anything you want to know, because Maria, remember your, what happened? Maria's account was hacked and somebody was talking to me as Maria Ricky. And, she was talking about getting a lottery and how would she spend the money. And Maria would never talk to me like that because we are close. We know what to talk about. So I was thinking whether this is Maria. So I took the pictures, I took the screenshots, I sent it to Maria's original Facebook, and I have her number in the iMessage, we call each other. So Maria said, no, Gypsy, what happened? Okay. So I said, tell everybody not to take the friend request because she is talking about money and people may get duped because she is a community leader and she is connected with many men and women, teenagers, and they might be duped. So this is just a small example. I have been nowadays, I'm getting, and people are getting, even my family, my friends are getting messages from banks. Shurabi, messages from banks, from banks where we have accounts. They know that we have accounts in these banks, and messages from different people. I mean, from some number that, click on this, click on that. Your account has been hacked, as if they are going to protect us, but actually they are scammers. Then the banks, we call the banks, even credit cards. My credit card got scammed 1,000 times. I had to change the credit cards. Once I got scammed for $13,000, Shurabi, and then we had to file a police case. Thank God I was in Ottawa with my son, and the fraud was happening in Toronto. Fraud was happening in Toronto. Somebody was using my credit card. Imagine when you use a credit card online, scammers can duplicate the credit card, use it at convenience stores and pumps, petrol pumps. So thank God, my son was in Ottawa studying in school and I had to show the certificate. So we had to go through so much harassment, wastage of time just to recover the money. So we have to be very careful, and it's a big
Absolutely. Since we're talking about digital equality and digital literacy, there are a lot of digital footprint of ours now available. Whether it is a digital footprints, whether it is your own ID is now available in a public domain also. So from this platform, I just give you a very simple tip for the safety and security. I think this is not the forum where I can give you a very detailed lecture on if this happened, what you can do, if that happened, do's and don'ts. But in general, I must say, if we have a lot of digital footprints, definitely, snoopers can snoop looking the profile, whether it is your SMS, whether, or your email, or they just try and attempt sending you irrelevant content, anything, to lure you, so that they're sending an email, they're sending messages, link, URL, checking out your digital footprints. And this is how they gather an information and try and intrude into our private information or a content, whether it is a digital wallet, whether it is a credit card, whether it is a debit card, whether it is your OTP, whether it is your social media profile. What is important to do it? For everything, it's very important that take care of your password. Two-factor authentication is very important. Take care of your password. Do not use same password or your email address for every XYZ activities. If you're using a same key to unlock all the doors, then definitely if the one key is lost, all the doors are open. So that's what we have learned in our childhood. And that's very important to understand in this cyberspace also. Any account which is related to financial should be a different to your social media account, to your any XYZ, e-commerce account or anything, they should be different. The password which you're using should be highly secured, and two-factor authentication is very important.
Yes.
Reduce your digital footprint is very important. Do not unnecessarily click on any URL. Do not download any XYZ app just because somebody is using it. You know the usability, and based on the usability, you can just share the data. It's not that just you can share all the data. It means you are sharing all your data in the common platform, which can be misused against you. We also have support, whether we have a Google support, whether we have a Facebook support, we have a support. And you have a setting of every social media platform, or whether any email account which you're using, or apps also. And even in the when we're talking about online banking, you also have a setting. Explore that. Strengthen the security in the setting part, which is in your hand. Awareness is important, because somewhere we're lacking in awareness and somebody is misutilizing that, and we become a victim in the whole case. So what is important is awareness, and basic safety is very important, which is in our hand. Rest, I think in every nation, we have a law and act to intact the things. And definitely with this platform, we can support each other to be more cyber secure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So I have a question in my mind. There is somebody waiting, but I'm not admitting that person because I have no name. It's 149 entered the waiting room. Do you know anybody who is 149? So how did this Zoom link leak out? See.
So the Zoom link is available on the social media platform. We all have encouraged so that more and more webinars may join. So the people, click on that and they wanted to come into this room, but we only allow to the limited people who are the legitimate user.
Somebody is waiting, 149 entered the waiting room. So
it's truly up to the admit or not, and the choice is yours.
Yes. So I'm not admitting because we are not admitting anybody we do not know. So I asked you if you have somebody who is like 149 as identity. Okay, so we will move on. Thank you. So any more questions for the cyber security specialist today? Carmen, do you have any question? Preeti is a cybersecurity specialist also. So we'll move on to our next panelist today.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for having me this
Thank
morning.
you, Dr. Shrovi.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. May I leave? It's already 10 here.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you so
have
much.
a good night. Thank you.
Good night, everyone. Good night.
Yeah. So next panelist is Tanna Samantha from Ottawa, Canada. Tanna is a data analyst who started her career as a software developer and presently having 16 years of experience working with data warehousing and business intelligence domain. She got her bachelor's and master's degree in information technology and presently working in Ottawa in a supply chain data management company. Besides job, she is fond of dancing, singing, painting, and traveling. Her topic of discussion is technology and innovation to empower financial independence of women. So, Tanna, welcome.
Thank you so much, Gypsy, for including me in this panel and giving me this wonderful opportunity. And I'm really blessed and enriched having the insights of these wonderful people. And just wanted to make sure before I start that I'm clearly audible. Should I increase my... Okay, awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. And I'm very proud to say the organization I work in, Ottawa, more than 46% employees are women. And they are playing all the roles, starting from technical to senior management to leadership. And they are driving this company towards success and creating a more inclusive workplace for women. And also I must mention this topic is very close to my heart, because not only are there millions of wonderful women who have achieved financial freedom and are still thriving, and I have also achieved financial freedom and able to fulfill my dream and follow my responsibilities and do a lot of things which wouldn't have been possible if this was not a digital era and with all these technical innovation. So to begin with, financial freedom and gender equality, I feel like these two words are very closely tied to each other, because gender discrimination and gender-based inequality, all these things started centuries ago and across all human races. And gradually we move towards a better place for women, thanks to all our, wonderful women and men leaders who supported gender equality, and countless number of movements and activities that have been through decades and centuries, and which have made today's world a better place for women, where we can raise our voice and we can have an equal part in this society, and we can be financially independent, because that was the basis of the discrimination from centuries, because women were mainly responsible for giving birth, which was a caring job, but that was not awarding from financial perspective. And due to a stronger, naturally stronger human being, men, they were responsible for the outer work, and they used to earn money for the family and raise the families. And that's how women became financially dependent on the on men. And that saga continues till generations and centuries, and that thing has gradually changed, and women have gained many rights and other freedoms along with financial freedom through several activities and movement. And there is a sudden change and revolution in this digital era towards financial independence of women. Why that happened? Because there are certain points. The first point is literacy, financial literacy. That was not present in earlier centuries or generation because women were confined to home. They had no access to financial literacy, or they had no network to discuss the same. In today's era with digital innovation, all these things are readily accessible to every corner in the world where we have internet. So women can readily access whatever they need to gain financial literacy and financial knowledge. So that thing has elaborated women's independence towards finance. And second is sharing of knowledge. Today we have social network, we have digital platforms and everything. Today we have seen women supporting other women, women who have gained knowledge in several areas. They are sharing their knowledge with other women. Women are sharing their concerns, their insecurities. They are asking for help. They're asking for job opportunities. They're asking how we can stand on our own feet, how we can be independent. And women who are like standing against domestic violence, who have no money, no financial backup, they are asking for help in the internet. And we can see like thousands of women are coming forward and sharing their knowledge and creating a sustainable and supportive environment for all the women to come forward and move towards financial independence. And another is social media and social network. In rural areas and urban areas as well, women from the corner of their home today can access a huge client base outside their home, outside their cities, outside their countries. So even if they want to start a small business, they have resources, they have a network, they have a client base. They can start any business anytime and, you know, perform very well along with and compete with other men or women who are in that field. So in that way, women are gaining a lot of business knowledge and financial freedom through e-commerce and technology-based innovation. And another is change of mindset in several organizations, and there are new policies towards women, and there is a shift in the work culture, which was absent like 50, 60 years ago. Like when in today's world, the policies and the mindset of in the organization are a lot different than it used to be. And Canada is very progressive in that matter, because I have faced like my organization is very good in creating equality and a sustainable workplace for women, where we can, raise any of our concern and we can work equally and freely. So digital innovation and sharing of knowledge and gaining access to other areas, having a supportive environment, all these things have created a change in mindset and thus created a better and equitable environment for women to gain knowledge and start earning and, gain financial freedom, which can lead to a better world. And another thing, with this digital innovation and technical era, the need for mobility to do a job has decreased to a certain point, and that in certain way has helped women, because I feel like sometimes they are restricted to go out for a job. Sometimes there are like mobility restriction and they have caregiving responsibilities at home. And sometimes there are gender-based restrictions in some areas of this world, which prevents them to go out of their home and perform a job or do a job or earn money, which has now been reduced by this technical era and this internet. So women can start any business or do a job by sitting at their home. So that has been a great achievement and revolution towards women empowerment and achieving financial freedom. And lastly, I can say, in today's world, due to sharing of knowledge and having access to outer world, the men also started to understand the importance of women being financially independent, how that's gonna help a household and how that's gonna help the next generation, the kids, how that's gonna help educating the child. So they have become more supportive towards the women doing jobs outside their home, and they have become more open to sharing household courses. So I I mean, I want to say that that is a bigger shift, like which encourage women to go outside their household job and take financially like a financial job which can make them financially independent. So in that way, I can say this digital revolution with the with the invention of internet has brought a huge shift in socio-economic structure, and still we have a long battle to fight. We have a long way to go. We need more women to come forward. We need more resources to be shared. We need more digital power in the hand of women so that they can thrive for greater success and make this world a better place for this generation and for the future. Thank you so much. Any questions?
Thank you very much, Tonna. Technology is no doubt a very, very powerful tool for the financial independence of women. I know many people who are working from home. Even my own aunt, who's like 60 years old, has started online business of garments and doing very well and sending garments to all over India, you know, starting from saris and everything. And it's all over the world. It's not only India. So even in Canada, I've seen people working from home. Nowadays, women who know how to type, they do data entry jobs from home also. Lots of companies, they need people to do data entry, and they're doing data entry from home. So technology is a big tool, very big tool, and we need to know technology, not at least the basic of technology, where we can utilize technology and you know, be financially independent. And not only that, yes, women are also complaining about their domestic violence in the internet, and then you know, making aware of what is happening, and so that people can help, and you know, police can reach them. Any questions regarding Tonna's speech? Any questions? We all know about it. We are much aware. We are, you know, doing this panel due to technology only. So thank you so much, Tonna. So we are going to move forward with a little bit of music and then the next IT panel. Okay, Maria? Okay. So let's share some, you know, I want to talk about this woman who is a woman artist from Ottawa. In fact, we want to showcase our own talent from the Rwandan community in Ottawa, Missy Nina Ninette. She is from Rwanda, Africa, and she is an artist. She has her own albums. She really performed wonderfully at the World Multicultural Festival. We want to see her performance. So I will share the YouTube now. So I need some time because you know, to do like emceeing and at the same time sharing technology things, it's difficult. So because there are so many windows open and I'm going here and there so many times. Not a problem. So because I have to open the window and then share. There it is. So you can see.
Nina.
that was our own talent. You know, Maria, she's very talented and she's from Rwanda and she's from Ottawa. I thought to play her album, her song. So 149 is nobody but one of our panelists, Alicia. So I asked her, she said it automatically says 149, but I'm really worried about remember the, Zoom bombardment. So I did not, allow. So we'll move on to the next IT panel now, the second panel. And we have Preeti Pal. So Preeti Pal is passionate and performance-driven consultant with 18 plus years of experience in North America and South Asia, specializing in agile methodology, process compliance and consulting. Experienced in working with Fortune 100 customers and global leadership teams in driving strategy, project and delivery management, enhancing risk and control framework, creating customer business value by standardizing processes by value stream mapping tools, and leading large multi-located virtual teams. The discussion topic of Preeti today is technology awareness in cyberbullying of women and children. One more. It's a very important topic. So Preeti, welcome to the panel.
Thank you, Mrs. Gypsy and the World Multicultural Association for giving me this wonderful opportunity on this topic on cyberbullying, which is like, it's been the most impacted trend due to the pandemic and due to the various technology aspect. We have been moved from an era of social gathering to an online or a technology gathering format. So everything has a pros and cons. So if you know what is the benefits of each technology, then we can secure ourselves in a very proactive way. So today's topic for me is technology awareness on cyberbullying, which is very close to my heart as one of my acquaintances has already faced such scenarios. So as this forum is open to all, I had made it very simpler so we understand what it is all about. Does it really have an impact and what type of impact? Is it going to be a psychological or something else? And what are the prevention steps to combat this cyberbullying? And if we had been a victim of this cyberbullying, what are the do's and don'ts? And does definitely technology plays a vital role in preventing it or identifying it? We will discuss as part of this format. So what is cyberbullying? In other terms, like it's one form of bullying via electronic means. Like, for example, it can be your social media website, it can be through your text, it can be through your mail. So what are the different formats they use? It can be in the form of a rumor, spreading rumors, spreading threats, like online harassment, like passing on negative comments or cyber stalking. And then there's another term called doxing. It's like they are disclosing other personal information online without your consent. And then we have revenge porn and phishing activities. And who are the main target area? My target people are the teenagers and the women, because they are they feel, the society feels that we are more vulnerable, but that's not the case. So, but due to the lack of awareness, and the teenagers and the children are most impacted. So does it have an effect on the person who's undergoing this? Yes, it definitely has. If you see the current trend and the statistics, around 40% are undergoing this cyberbullying. And one in 4 children are having this thought of suicidal. Why? Because they don't have anybody to share with what they are going through. They feel humiliated. They feel that they are isolated. As a result, they have some mental trauma. They are into a depression, and then they don't know where to seek help. So that is the impact, and it's leading to suicidal attempts. So how do we prevent? As an adult, as a citizen, it's our responsibility to teach the younger generation the do's and don'ts. So we already know the old adage, which goes like prevention is better than cure. So we need to secure and allow them like what are the applications which they can use for the knowledge and for their education. So they need to be on a little bit of restrict. They need to have limited access on the technological devices. I know most of our community would not agree to it, but this is one of the most preventive or the proactive step we can undertake. So in case, for example, we have to teach them that you should not go interact with an unwanted person or send text or messages whom we don't know. So again, the other, in case if there has been an unusual activity, we need to report them to the concerned authorities. So as a woman, so education and awareness plays a very vital role. So while we are using our devices, we need to have a strong password. It cannot be our name, it cannot be our date of birth, because all these are captured in a common application. We definitely need to go for a two-factor authentication. What is it? For example, if you are connecting your Gmail to another device, it will trigger you an email asking like it is you who has logged into this device, and it also tells you like which platform or the application you're using. For example, are you using Chrome to log into your device, or are you using Edge to log into your email? So the other thing is everybody has all the social media accounts starting from Facebook, Insta, TikTok, etc. We need to ensure our settings are into private mode and not into a public mode. And the other part is what the biggest mistake what we do is when we are in a travel, we try to connect to a public Wi-Fi as it is like, but that is definitely a no. Why? Because personal devices connected to the public Wi-Fi are totally insecure, as well as you enabling the Bluetooth of your personal devices at public places is again a risk. So these are the steps which you can avoid to prevent against cyberbullying. So as in case if you are a part of a victim of cyberbullying, so what should you do next? So we need to share these incidents to a friend or a family whom we trust. Okay, we need to secure all the evidences in the form of an email, text, or a comments. So in case due course of action, it might be needed as a proof. We should not retaliate immediately. Why? Because that might create the issue more further back. We have to block and report the issue to the concerned authority. So if the instance has happened in school, you have the school supervisors to be notified. And if it has happened in a personal, you can go to the helpline numbers. And in case if you have been encountering any such issues in the form of a social media website, there is a report button option, which will enable or trigger to the social media platforms where this has erased. Okay, does technology play a vital role in preventing cyberbullying? Definitely, yes. So based on the text we type in, there are different tools and systems which identifies this hate speech and abusing languages and prevents, blocks or prevents such messages into mass communication. There is a tool like IBM Watson AI, which also monitors the activities and activities of the children online. And as a proactive measure, it can email to the parent so that the action can be taken. There are also algorithms which identifies suicidal tendencies. So this has been a very best practice in the industry. Why? Because it understands the neural representation of the emotions of the kid, and it also triggers a mail trigger to the concerned person so that the suicidal attempts are prohibited. And we already know that 22nd of February every year is celebrated as an anti-bullying day or as a kindness day to create awareness about cyberbullying. So before I end my session, I would just go on with this adage: think twice before you type, and blowing out someone else's candle won't make yours shine better. So as a citizen, as an adult, it's our responsibility to create an awareness about the do's and don'ts of the technology, and also to protect the womanhood or the children by not getting into this trouble. Thank you for giving me this wonderful opportunity.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Preeti. You know, what I wanted to ask you, Preeti, is, let me go to the gallery mode. So I have a request. Can you share in the chat? You were talking about few sites or few applications.
Yeah,
Who
sure.
can monitor the children, who can monitor what the children are typing, or yeah,
Yeah, I can share that.
yeah, you can share it that in the chat, Preeti.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Watson AI. IBM Watson Artificial Intelligence monitors the children
It's a
online
tool.
activities. Okay, that's a tool. I didn't know about this tool. IBM Watson Artificial, because yeah, we made a lot of mistakes. We made a lot of mistakes ourselves, and till today we make mistakes. We share like, oh, I'm here, I'm going to
Yeah.
grocery, I'm going to the movie. We should not share these things. I stopped sharing these things. I have matured very late, actually. But now we have to teach these in the schools. I think the school curriculum should teach cyberbullying of men and women, I mean, and children. It's very important, and people should be aware. Like Preeti has explained, this should be explained to everybody in school, you know, starting from grade 3 or 4. Right. So I feel that way. I don't know whether the curriculum includes this. It's very important to be incorporated within the curriculum throughout the world, in all countries, not only Canada and India, in fact. What do you think, Maria?
I agree. I agree. I think the other thing that I'm concerned with is how people respond to women generally on social media. You know, it's too bad Lee Farnworth and Isabel Metcalf are no longer on the Zoom chat, but you know, when people attack politicians, in particular males, they do so based on their merit, their qualifications, what they're achieving and not achieving. However, I find that often when they attack the women politicians, it's usually on based on a personal level. It's a personal degree, the way you look, the way you dress, your height, your
Yes.
weight. And that's really sad. And so I think that in part, maybe that could be where everyone can start to say, we're not taking this narrative any longer. We're not going to accept this narrative any longer. Maybe what we need to do is every time somebody makes a comment of that nature, you know, without preventing them their freedom of rights. I mean, your freedom of speech, you can talk about anything. And I'm telling you, not all female politicians are going to be 100% right or perfect. So that's fine. Please comment on maybe on their integrity, maybe on their caliber, but please stop the bullying in terms of how they look, appear, and maybe the rest of us can respond accordingly to those types of comments. That's one of the comments. But this has been very, very, I didn't know a lot of this stuff. So this is really good. And as Gypsy said, we have been, I don't know how many people have been targets, but my Facebook account was replicated. And you know, and I've known people close to home whose accounts have been hacked and so forth. But the biggest challenge that we're afraid of is the children. We really, really need to protect the children at all costs,
Yes.
because I saw that word, suicide, and that to me should not be anywhere in our vocabulary. It should not be happening with our children.
Yes, absolutely. Any other comments? Anybody wants to say something or ask a question?
I have a friend who works at one of the universities in the advancement bursaries office and that. And coming with the students coming back after the pandemic, you know, some of the students, you know, they're 18, 19, they're back on campus for the first time. You know, they've They've been at home, they've been subject to a lot of cyberbullying. And she told me of 5 suicides of
Oh my
young
God.
men and women last fall. It took place, from September through to December. And these were just young children that, young kids, 17, 18 years of age, that just could no longer cope, be it a combination of the pandemic and being isolated, being subject to the cyberbullying, just, and we all know, even prior to so much of the social media, how bullying can really destroy kids. I mean, it destroys their self-esteem, it destroys thus their advancement, maybe in school, different things like that. But that statistic really bothered me here in the Ottawa area. 5 promising young men and women. Very sad.
Trina, that's not including, the epidemic of anxiety, depression,
I agree.
young people queuing up at the Royal Ottawa and other seeking psychological support. And because the demand and the surge is so high, not being able to get that. And, you're right about the cyberbullying, but more than that, I think there's this explosion of this new invention called the social influencer and influencers, period. And they don't seem to have any qualifications other than, wanting to put, I don't know, what kind of content out there. I suppose some are good. I'll pass judgment, but I think it's this endless comparison, nonstop, every day, every second, where you sort of feel like your life isn't measuring up to what you are seeing on social media. And this is, I remind my daughter, it's a curated post that you're seeing. Even a happy vacation picture. When we've been on vacation, I tell her, we don't share the mess of getting there. Or maybe what happened afterward, that we're dying of heat and couldn't find a, place to sit down and drink. So yeah, it's cyberbullying for sure. But I think the psychologicalness of all these messages telling young people and people our age, older, that you're not enough.
Agree.
Going back to the confidence thing and women that we've heard all throughout the 2 days. So yeah, more education is needed. This is a phenomenal presentation.
Very much,
Thank you.
very much agree with you, Carmen, there. Yep.
Thank you. So it is also again a peer pressure with the teens to just get into and explore more applications. Like, okay, you have done that, let me explore it today. So, and yeah, that's what happens. But again, as a society, like, it's our responsibility to create awareness. I think everybody is, that's why we have this February 22nd, which is as like anti-bullying day, so that we know like what's this day's significance of.
I think all the schools, starting from grade 3, they can make it. I mean, you don't have to use so many terms. So curriculum can be made where children should learn what is cyberbullying, because everybody has a phone nowadays and parents buy them. So I remember my son throwing tantrums, and I was very strict not to buy the phone, but my husband went and bought the phone when he was only 12 years old. And that was the reason why I used to be very, very upset with my son, with everybody in the family. So because he said, I'm going to commit suicide if you don't buy me a phone. All my friends, they have phones. I don't have a phone. And he was crying. He was sitting on the stairs and he was crying. And he cried for continuously few hours, and for 2-3 days. He did that. He was not eating. And so you understand. So this is again peer pressure. Parents bought phones for other children, and that was seen by my son. My son thought, oh, my friends have a phone, I don't have a phone, so I'm inferior, I should have a phone. So once he got a phone, He was not concentrating on studies. He was not studying. He was always on the phone playing this and then Snapchatting in grade 7 and 8. I'm not happy with the whole thing. I'm very, very upset at the whole situation. And I think I want to take an initiative of doing more cyber panels with, with parents and others from a different forum maybe, but with maybe school board. We have to try for that, to make aware. We can't do anything, but we can make aware of these things. So at least, if they have the phones, they should know about cyberbullying, and they should be taught in different languages and different steps in school. That's what I think. So let's move on to you can stop sharing the screen, Preeti, so that I can move on. Thank you so much. So we'll move on to Alicia. Alicia has a baby, and the baby just woke up.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, depending upon wherever everyone is joining.
So Alicia has sent a video because she said, Gypsy, I don't know whether I can speak live because whenever I want to do something, I'm on maternity leave, the baby wakes up. So let me take a picture, beautiful picture of Alicia and the baby, right?
Bless you.
Yeah. Alicia, I want to take a picture of you.
Oh,
speak something. Yeah, I want to take a picture of you with the baby, of course. Yeah.
Partner with me today, who's going to be joining live. I've sent my video to Gypsy.
Yeah, I'll be playing the video. Don't worry, I'll be playing
after that to answer any questions, but I'm just going to be on mute.
Yeah, so for questions, she wants to be there. So I need some time to play the video because it's in my downloads. So I'm now going to my downloads and playing Alicia's and then sharing. Okay, 1 second. Give me some time.
Congratulations, Alicia. She's beautiful. Is it your first?
She's my first. Thank you. Yeah.
How many months? Okay. It'll get easier.
Yeah.
So I'm just searching for. I think this is Alicia.
I have the video
Got it?
ready with me. Okay.
My name is Alisha Srivastav. I'm joining from Ottawa. A little bit about myself. I'm a new mom to a 3-month-old beautiful baby girl. I recently finished my MBA from University of Ottawa and work with IBM as a senior transformation consultant. Without much ado, I would straight away jump to my topic. Now, when this topic itself was presented to me, I thought to myself, which topic should I talk about that hasn't already been discussed? And I decided to deep dive this theme itself, which is gender equality and technology's role in uplifting it. To begin with, let us try and understand what is gender equality. Well, according to UNICEF, gender equality means that women and men must enjoy equal rights, resources, opportunities, and protections. Now, what this loosely translates is the fact that women have avenues to lead, participate in, and benefit equally from governance systems. They have a steady financial source and an income security that enables them to make financial decisions independently. This also means that they are free from any sorts of violence and abuse and have equal access to resources during conditions like war, a natural disaster, or the pandemic. Now, this is what we would like to achieve. This is what we have in theory. But as we know, reality is far away from this. Now, there are many reasons for this gap, such as generational barriers, illiteracy, imbalanced sex ratio, etc. Hence, because of these circumstances, the historical inequalities that women have faced continue to have intergenerational impacts that reach today's children, the community, and the world at large. Moving along, what are the major issues that concern gender inequality in particular? So I have mostly lined 3 major topics that I'd like to discuss today. And that's the first one that I'd like to discuss is the lack of access to resources and opportunities. Now, due to the deeply rooted notions about women solely being homemakers, caretakers, there has been an extreme lack of access to resources and opportunities for women and girls. Due to this lack of access to resources, women hardly utilize their full potential. And oftentimes they either end up not having any careers or settling for an alternate career. When this happens, naturally, they are not financially independent. And this in turn leads to further lack of access to opportunities and resources. So this vicious cycle never ends. The same applies to the healthcare sector. It is somehow deeply rooted in women to avoid and ignore any health ailments that they may be suffering and not seek medical attention simply because the healthcare center was far away, too expensive, or they were made to believe it's nothing and it will fade away with time. Next issue that I would like to discuss is the lack of representation. In terms of the lack of representation, these numbers solidify the fact that there is a severe underrepresentation of women in fields such as policy making, healthcare, technology, and even in leadership. But the fact that really hit home to me was that women are 47% more likely to suffer injuries in car crashes because safety features are designed for men. This is because the solutions or the products that are designed by male predominantly for the male users. Women are left out of co-creation, design, and product testing. As a result, female users often are not able to access these products and services or see no use to use them. Next issue is basically one of my favorites. Now, this is regarding the gender-based pay gap. The below numbers speak for themselves, but the ones that I want to highlight is on an average worldwide, women earn 77 cents for every dollar earned by men. The situation is grim when it comes to women of color, as they are among the lowest paid workers. Age is another factor. According to Forbes advisor, 20-year-old women just starting full-time year-round work stands to lose close to $400,000 over a 40-year career compared to her male counterpart. What I particularly did not like is the recent tech layoffs, where 69.2% of those laid off were women. Now, moving along to the solution part, how technology can help combat this gender inequality. I came up with 3 steps towards tackling the major issues that we just looked at. That is awareness, which is basically what we are doing right now. Once men and women both are aware, and most importantly, acknowledge that inequality, that there is inequality, only then we can move to the next step of empowerment. And once we continuously keep empowering each other, growth is bound to happen. Smartphones and internet has a big role to play in creating this awareness. It further opens the avenues for empowering through various platforms, such as mentorship and scholarship, with more and more opportunities for virtual learning. Women can either re-enter the workforce or switch to a field of interest, thereby increasing the much needed representation in today's time. Cashless transfers give them the autonomy to manage their own finances and increase their decision-making capacity. In addition, the AI-powered tools can reduce the bias that takes place during the hiring process and during promotion. All this is powered by technology, and it ultimately leads to growth and reducing the gender gap. Technology can provide various avenues for upskilling and remote work options that assist in broadening one's horizons. Above all of this, I believe just how you and I were encouraged at some point in time, we must encourage our own children, nephews, and nieces to break the barriers and shatter the ceiling. And that is the only reason why we are sitting here, because we were once encouraged and made to believe that we can do that. If there is no seat at the table, let's bring our own table and make a seat. And remember, if you are manipulated by saying, oh, your table is too girly, tell them it's my table, I'd like it to be howsoever. Anyway, that's my time. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I will leave you with few resources that I found interesting. These are the resources. And if you'd like to further connect with me or have a discussion, I'm most active on all of these platforms. So I'd be really happy to connect. Thank you so much. Thanks, bye.
Alicia. So Alicia is there for some questions. So anybody has questions? Any questions? Or anybody wants to say something? So I was really worried about gender pay inequality. Even is it the same in Canada, in North America, or like even in IT fields, in the government?
I'll give you an example, Gypsy. Right after I finished my master's, I was applying for jobs. I did get a few offers, and then we were in because my husband and I were almost in the same field. And then I did get few offers. So I was in the process of negotiating. I thought that number was great. My husband was like, no, you know, we both are in the same field, and this is not what you should be asking because I'm making this much. So I have an example right from my home. And I was like, okay, yeah, this is an eye opener. Experience could be something, you know, to play a part. But then yes, there's something of this sort that exists that I have personally, you know, experienced. I'm not sure about others' experiences, but yeah, this was really interesting for me.
So any others who can talk about this experience of gender pay inequality, which is very shocking? Actually, I had heard about it. I had heard about gender pay equality amongst immigrants. I mean, like, for example, some people have immigrated or gone for a work permit to Canada. I've heard that IT companies pay less to them and saves money, and the IT company pays more to the Canadians or to the immigrants or to people who have been born in Canada, who have been in Canada for a long time, who was born in Canada. So I heard about this, but I didn't think about gender pay inequality in when women are playing important roles in the private sector, in the IT fields, in government, in the education field, in industries. Carmen, do you have an experience like this?
Yeah, you know, I think it's deep. I think it's across the board. While I think there's been improvement, it's still there. I think every single woman on this panel, including the panelists that have been featured on day one and day two, myself included, I think for a lot of women, it's almost like, hey, be grateful you were hired into the job. Be grateful that, you know, we're giving you a seat at the table. I've certainly seen in my career where I might have even been more qualified than some of the male peers or whatever, and they were given salary and opportunities and training at much higher rates and advancement than women, you know, and myself included. So I think it's still there. It's still across the board. And I think particularly, as you pointed out, it may be even worse for newcomers, depending on the company, the organization that you're joining, and whatever their corporate culture is and sense of openness. But, you know, the stats are there, and Trina mentioned that earlier today, where women are not just underrepresented, but underpaid for largely the same roles in many instances.
Very sad. Very sad to hear. I have been self-employed and into business, so I didn't face this. That's why when I hear about this, I feel very sad about this. So shall we move on to the next panelist? Thank you.
Yeah.
So, Alicia, did I you know, I didn't say your bio, right? So Alicia, I didn't say. So Alicia introduced herself because you had a baby, and we were like talking about, I think, cyberbullying. We were engrossed with that conversation. So I just missed your bio. So I'll tell your bio. So Alicia is a recent MBA graduate from the University of Ottawa, passionate about helping clients across various industries with digital change and project management. She works with IBM Canada as a senior management consultant and is currently enjoying her most fulfilling role, mom to a beautiful baby girl. So Alicia has always been a flag bearer of gender equality and believes that technology has a great role in bringing forth the much needed awareness. So she spoke about technology to help gender equality. Thank you, Alicia. Thank you so much. So next panelist is Himali. Himali Sarvaiya is from Gujarat, the western part of India. Himali Sarvaiya belongs to business and IT background. She has done her education with business analysis and project management and working as a business analyst since 2019 with finance and banking domains. Her journey from a team member to a team leader encouraged her to stay positive and to do better in this field. Her discussion topic has some questions. Where can you see women in this technical era? How far women came in this IT field, particularly business analyst field? What are the reasons behind it and how it will be affected to this world? So it's your stage, Himali. Where are you?
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Thank you so much for inviting me and giving me this chance to present in front of you. This is very first step for me to present this kind of topic in front of you guys. So please support me. And for sure, I'm going to share my screen now.
We are supporting you.
Yes. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Yes. So today my topic is like where can you see women in this technical era? As we know, like whenever we talk about the woman, we generally talk about how she handled the kitchen, how she handled the families, how can she handle the babies. But we never talk about her strength, her education, and about her hobbies and about her interest in job and in this technical field. So right now she grows very much, and right now she take many steps ahead towards this thing, and right now she is working in each and every field, like medical field, like nursing, like teaching field, banking field, IT field. Everywhere she can work easily. As we go through with the numbers, like how far women came in this field, then last year, like 68% women are working in different field. And in this current field, like in 2022, like 81% women working in this field. It's really raised day by day, and it's a really good thing for us. But if we talk about the particular technical field, like IT field, then like just 31% women are working in this field. So we have to improve this number day by day. Like we have to communicate with the woman, like what things are not getting her involved in this field, and what's the problem she is facing. If we talk about the numbers, like more than 400,000 women working in this information and communication technology field, but these numbers are not too much. We can see just like a 31%. So we have to increase it about 80 to 90% in this field. But still many women are leaving some workplace due to some problems. Like the top 3 reasons are they feel undervalued. We know women know everything about how to handle the situation, but due to gender gap they are not getting noticed. Like mostly men or manager say like she cannot do it, or this is not her cup of tea. Men only can do this thing, and men only can have right to solve this problem. So sometimes she is undervalued at the workplace. So due to this frustration and due to this pressure, she have to leave their workplace. Apart from that, they are poorly compensated, like Alicia told us, like a gender pay gap. So yes, we are facing this problem as well. Like woman is not getting that much paid as compared to the men. So that's why she feels to leave this workplace as well. And apart from that, the next topic is like they are unable to maintain work life balance. As we know, sometime at the workplace we have too much workload as well. We have to work after our office hour as well. These times she feels this time she feel like it's very hard to maintain life balance with her. Like she have to maintain the family, she have to work with the baby, she have to feed families as well, and she have to work focus at workplaces. So due to this imbalance, she have to leave the workplace. And for this we have to focus more on changing workplace culture. Like we have to manage our timing, we have to manage our work according, like men and women both can work together in same time and get the same pay. And they give more chance to men and women as well to solve the issue and represent their thoughts. um, gender equality at workplace. What can we do to make a gender equality at workplace? Like we have to focus on diversity during your recruitment process, as well as create fair compensate and the promotion procedure, offer flexible and supportive employee benefit, create a diversity and inclusion training program, as well as hold managers accountable and build an inclusive company culture. So everyone can feel like gender equality at workplace. Like if every workplace use these rules, then like we can say it will help a lot in our global GDP, and it will help a lot in our global market to raise funds and raise our business. Benefits behind the woman empowerment, like women in technical lead to better problem solving skills. They can lead increased revenue. Even she can control household spending as well and drive innovation. Woman helps a lot to solve, like close the skill gap as well. So she can do everything, but she just need a support. Like and in this field I can say like woman helps woman. Like we have to talk to the other woman and encourage her and support her and educate her and give one step ahead so she can do better in each and every field, so she get a chance to speak in front of everyone and do better in this field and stand on her feet. So women are never less than a man. She is equal to man, and she need this stage to communicate with everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Himali. So you have to stop sharing the screen. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, whatever you spoke about, yeah, is a gist of everything we discussed today. And I would like to listen to some, I don't know whether you would like to listen to some Indian music, because we planned for some Indian Punjabi Bhangra. And then
that's really
do the
great.
vote of thanks. Yeah, a little bit. So we have a beautiful YouTube. So let me go to the YouTube. 1 second. Yeah, so share the screen. So we watched the first part because it continues. So I think I should say thank you to everyone, including Isabel, Metcalf, Lee, Famward, who were the panelists for breaking the barriers. And of course, our IT panelists, Dr. Malini Ghosh, Dr. Surabhi Pandey, Torna Samanta, Preeti Pal, Alisha Srivastava, and Himali Sarvaya. Thank you to everyone for being such wonderful panelists and for making us aware of so many issues regarding technology and women. Thank you so much. So I hand over the stage to Maria for concluding our session today.
Thank you. Thank you, Gypsy. And again, thank you to the panelists. Your insights and your experiences have really, really brought forth a lot of ideas and recommendations on how the rest of us can move forward. So thank you. Thank you so much. I'm going to put in a little bit of a plug here. So again, if anyone knows of any outstanding women, I'm sure you do, please visit our site, FROttawa.dw.ca, and nominate an outstanding woman or women. And please remember that we're here to help you. So reach out to us through the site. You may do that if you have any questions or if you just need some assistance. But let's put these women, let's record their stories so that other women become encouraged by them. Thank you to our moderators today, Trina Costatini Powell and Gypsy. Gosh, thank you so much. Fantastic job as usual. And to the World Multicultural Festival, thank you so much for enabling us to be a partner. It's been a wonderful, wonderful experience. And to all the viewers on Facebook and YouTube, I hope that we have motivated you, encouraged you, inspired you to move forward in your own direction, to follow your dreams, to making your communities and cities and the world a better place for all, an equitable place for all. I think I'm going to resonate something that Carmen has said earlier, and that was basically the one thread that has come through all of these discussions has been confidence. Confidence in yourself, believe in yourself. Don't talk yourself down, but build yourself up and follow your dreams by surrounding yourself with a network that supports you, be it your family, your friends, be it acquaintances, mentors, anything that will help build your confidence so that you can move forward. And then do it, just do it. And the solution to inequality is getting more women involved at the higher levels, be it politics, be it at the executive level, be it at the entrepreneurial level, at all levels. Then we will genuinely see equality, and we will see a world where people will be judged based on their capabilities and not on what they look like. So thank you, everybody. Great 2 days. Thank you, Gypsy, again, and to all the presenters.
Thank you.